Ladies and gentlemen, Raider Nation, buckle up, because the Las Vegas Raiders are at a crossroads, and the NFL trade deadline is looming like a storm over Allegiant Stadium. With just days until November 4th, the Silver and Black are staring down another tough season, sitting at a grim 2-5 record. The question on everyone's mind: will the Raiders shake things up or hold fast to their commitment to excellence? Today, we're diving into a trade rumor that's got analysts sounding the alarm, and trust me, this one's a head-scratcher. Let's break it down. The Raiders are in full seller mode as the trade deadline approaches, but don't expect them to tear down the iconic Death Star just yet. Superstar defensive end Max Crosby, the heart and soul of this team, is off the table. The Raiders have shut down any talk of moving the two-time Pro Bowler, who's racked up 5.5 sacks this season alone, proving he's still a cornerstone of this franchise. But with another lost season in sight, names like wide receiver Jacoby Myers are floating around as trade bait. Myers, with his reliable hands and 403 receiving yards this year, could fetch a decent day 3 draft pick. Other depth players might also be on the move to stockpile assets for 2026. So far, so logical, right? But here's where things get wild. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox dropped a bombshell, suggesting the Raiders could consider trading, brace yourselves, offensive lineman Jackson Powers-Johnson. Yes, you heard that right. The 22-year-old rookie, a second-round pick in the 2024 draft, who was supposed to be a building block for this rebuilding squad. Knox even named the Cleveland Browns and Houston Texans as potential landing spots. Now, let's pause for a second. Trading a young talent like Powers-Johnson? That's like trading away a vintage Raiders jersey signed by Marcus Allen himself. It's just not something you do lightly. Let's dive deeper into why this idea is raising eyebrows. Powers-Johnson, or JPJ, as fans are starting to call him, was a standout at the University of Oregon, where he won the 2023 Remington Trophy as the nation's top center. For those new to the game, the center is the guy snapping the ball to the quarterback, anchoring the offensive line, and making critical calls to protect the QB. JPJ was a beast in college, paving the way for Oregon's high-powered offense. In his rookie season, he's shown flashes of that same dominance, starting 4 games at center for the Raiders. But here's the kicker: head coach Pete Carroll, in a move that's got Raider Nation buzzing, benched Powers-Johnson during last week's blowout loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, our arch-rivals, no less. Ouch. Carroll's decision to play musical chairs with JPJ's position, refusing to lock him in at center early on, has fans and analysts scratching their heads. Now, let's talk tactics. The Raiders' offensive line has been a sore spot this season, allowing 22 sacks on quarterbacks Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, third worst in the NFL. For context, that's a far cry from the glory days of the 1976 Raiders, who steamrolled to a Super Bowl XI victory behind a rock-solid O-line led by legends like Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. Powers-Johnson, with his 6'3", 320-pound frame and nasty streak, was supposed to be the future of this unit. Trading him now, at what Knox calls a depressed value, would be like selling a classic muscle car for scrap metal. It's high risk, low reward, especially for a team that's rebuilding and needs young, cost-controlled talent. To get a sense of the vibe in Raider Nation, I caught up with a fictional superfan, Tommy Silver Skull Martinez, outside Allegiant Stadium. Here's what he had to say: "Man, trading JPJ? That's crazier than the tuck rule game. This kid's got the grit of Ken Stabler and the potential to be an all-pro. Why would we ship him out when we're trying to build something here?" Tommy's not alone. Social media is ablaze with Raiders fans chanting, "Keep JPJ," and pointing to a 78.2 Pro Football Focus grade as a rookie, which ranks him among the top 15 centers league-wide. Historically, the Raiders have made bold moves at the trade deadline, sometimes to their detriment. Remember the 2018 Amari Cooper trade to Dallas? It netted a first-round pick, but Cooper became a star for the Cowboys, leaving some fans with regrets. Trading Powers-Johnson could echo that move, especially if he blossoms elsewhere. The Browns, desperate for O-line help after allowing 26 sacks this season, or the Texans, looking to protect young QB CJ Stroud, would love to snag a talent like JPJ. But for the Raiders, who rank 28th in the NFL in rushing yards per game, 98.4, letting go of a lineman who can open holes for running back Zamir White feels like a step backward. Looking ahead, the Raiders face a brutal stretch. Games against the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers await after the trade deadline. If they move Powers-Johnson, they're not just weakening their line. they're sending a message that the front office isn't fully committed to the youth movement. Coach Carroll, who won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks in 2013, has preached patience in Vegas, but benching a rookie like JPJ raises questions about his vision. Compare that to the Chiefs, who've built a dynasty by developing young linemen like Creed Humphrey. The Raiders can't afford to let a potential star slip away. So, what's the play here, Raider Nation? Hold on to Powers Johnson and let him grow into the anchor this line needs. The trade deadline is a chance to reshape the roster, sure, but moving a 22-year-old with all-pro upside? That's a fumble even Al Davis wouldn't have made. Keep your eyes on Vegas as November 4th approaches. Will the Raiders double down on their rebuild or make a move they'll regret for years? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss our next report as we preview the Raiders' showdown with the Bengals. Until then, just win, baby.